Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Moody Reader Podcast. I am your host. Wait, no, this isn't the Moody Reader Podcast. Psych. This is just me talking to you guys and doing a little reading update because I don't know why it feels like I haven't filmed in a hot minute. Probably because I haven't filmed in a hot minute. But it actually hasn't been that long since I posted. It's been about, if this video goes up when I want it to go up, it's been like 2 weeks. So it hasn't been a tremendous amount of time. It hasn't been, oh my gosh, where is she? Plus, no one cares where I am, so it doesn't matter. But I was getting the itch to film, and I have tried to film a video for a while now because I was trying to do a vlog, but y'all, I'm stressed. I'm a little stressed out. For my own, it was my own making, my own doing, me stressing out. So today we're just going to have a little talk about books because that's what I love in this life, books. And so we're talking about all the books I'm currently reading and the ones that I have finished because I've been in a little bit of a slumpy slump, probably because I read how many books in February? Too many. This is the amount of books I read in February. I didn't do a wrap-up because I don't like wrap-ups. And you know what? I figured let's make good on my promise to never do another wrap-up again. So I'm not ever doing another wrap-up again. Not that anybody was missing it. But yeah, I read way too many books in February. And just because we got that extra day, thank you, leap year, doesn't mean it's a lot of time to ingest that many stories. Granted, not all of them were very long, but I did read a whole Lord of the Rings moment, trilogy, quartet, if you include The Hobbit. And while I did enjoy every second of it, I'm a little drained. I'm a little drained now. This week it was spring break. I think I've wasted my spring break, but I did have a couple days off. And like the other reason I'm in a slump is not only because of that Lord of the Rings video, which it's here, I did it, woo. And the other reason for my slump is that did that video, read that many books that month, and I'm doing a bunch of videos right now, not a bunch, like I think one video right now that I will probably never finish because I'm not in the mood for those books anymore, which is very unfortunate for me and my creativity. I wish I could be that person who's like, I'm going to read this book and then I'm going to tell you about this book. Nope, couldn't be me. Couldn't be further from the case. But I'm technically still reading those books. I'll tell you about them. This will be like a little spoiler for that video. And the other reason for my slump is that, I got a new job. It's nothing fun. I mean... That sounded bad. It's fun. I mean, it's a job. I've only ever done ballet-related things, and I'm still doing ballet-related things, but I had to add another job because life. Woo. Everyone loves life, right? So Homegirl's got 2 jobs, and that means that with these 2 jobs, my free time has dwindled. It has. It's gone down the toilet a little bit. So the free time for reading has been diminished, and which is fine because I was in a slump, so I didn't really want to read. And so when I do want to read, it's books that are just easier. So I say all that to say, my slump has been mostly, if I can liken it to anything, it feels like when you don't feel like eating anything, but you know you must eat to stay alive. So that's what my reading's been. I've been wanting to read every day, and I have read every day, but it hasn't been like a big feast of reading. And I feel like this metaphor has gone on too long. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the books that I'm currently reading and read, because I have read 3 books this month. It's what's today? Ooh, the 15th. We are little halfway into the month. Yeah. And I've only read 3 books, which is fine. Doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I've read 32 books this year, so I'm chill. I'm chill. And then I'm also gonna just, regale you with some funny stories that have happened over these past few weeks. So yeah, if you want to continue listening. I don't know. So first things first, I want to tell you about a silly story. So I am not klutzy, but you know, people have klutzy moments. I had a klutzy moment and I want to tell you about it. So I have really hypermobile joints, and sometimes it can be no bueno. It's great for ballet. It's great for that. But I was in rehearsal for something, and it was kind of a more contemporary piece. So, you know, you get low to the ground, and you have to get back up off the ground very quickly. And so in this instance, I was supposed to do a sequence of events, a sequence of steps, there we go, in which I was supposed to go from standing up, doing a little kick with my leg, and then go drop down into a skater sit spin, and then go right from that skater sit spin, so I'm already low to the ground, and go into a bear crawl. And so from this bear crawl, I'm supposed to like crawl over to somebody and like do something else. And that was supposed to be the end of that. But for me, I am not good at skater sit spins. In fact, they kind of scare me. And although I can do, what is it called? A pistol squat? I can do a pistol squat. Pretty good. But we were doing a little run through of the first piece, and we were trying to link things up so that we're not just like, you know, doing the bare minimum every single time. And this time we were going to record it. And so I was like, ooh, I got to make this sit spin good because it's being recorded and I can't look like a little baby. And so they press play on the music, press play on the recording, and I go into my sit spin, and it's not good. Not at all. It's kind of like it looks like I went 30% in. I did not get all the way to the ground, anywhere near it. So I said, I need to make up for this. This needs to be the best bear crawl I've ever done in my entire life. And so I went for my bear crawl. I'm trying to like reach my hand out to like really go for it, be really bear-like. And in the process, my foot slips behind me. I guess I hit a slick spot or something. I slip, so I go forward and I try to catch myself with my arm, with my hand, but my arm hyperextends behind me because of these hypermobile joints. And so I fall just like straight onto basically my stomach with my arm going like that. And nothing extremely bad happened, but I felt the nerves around my brachial plexus. What I've been told from my dad, who's a doctor, I couldn't tell you what a brachial plexus was before this. The nerves in it, I thought they were torn because I heard a sound. So, of course, that scared me. But I felt a bunch of nerves just kind of like get a little angry with me. And the shock of it was, in fact, so painful and like sharp that it made me want to throw up, cry, and faint. So I thought about doing all those things, and I said, fainting. That seems like the least silly thing to do, because I don't want to throw up. You know, I'm afraid of throwing up, and I can't cry because we don't cry over here. So I fainted, and I also fainted because it was so shocking that I couldn't feel my arm and I couldn't move it. So I thought, I'm gonna lose the use of my arm. Oh my goodness, this story's going on way too long. Anyways, moral of the story, I fainted. People got scared for me. They didn't know that I have a history of fainting. And then the paramedics were called. And y'all, I don't have no health insurance. So I said, nope, send them away. Send them away. I don't want them. I don't want them here. Yeah. But the good thing is I met a cute paramedic. I did not get his number. And that's the end of that story. Anyways, okay, let's move on to the books. That's such a weird story to tell and to just bypass it because nothing really happened. It was just a funny day. Anyhoozle. So here are the books that I am currently reading. I'm currently reading 3 books right now all at the same time. But not really, because none of them have kept my mood. So the first one that I'm currently reading, that I've been reading for, at this point, 3 months now, going on 3 months, is, of course, The Brothers Karamazov. I don't want to talk about it because I'm still liking it. I'm just not in the mood for it right now. But this has been mentioned in a couple of my other videos, so, you know, it's a book about patricide. I'm getting to the point where, finally, Fyodor has been killed. This is not a spoiler because it's on the back. You know he's going to get killed. Finally, he has died, and we're just kind of like trying to figure out who done it. And I'm enjoying it, like I said. It's just not what I want right now. I'm not feeling it. I will go back to it, though. I promise you, I will. You can bet that. You can bet your bottom dollar. Oh, no, my foot's about to start to go to sleep. Ow, okay. The next book that I'm currently reading right now was on my February TBR, and I was supposed to read this one in February to get kind of done with the video I was doing because it's a themed video. So it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be done quickly. And I've read half of the books for that video, and I just have 2 more to finish, and I'll be done with it, and I can put it out because it was so fun to film the intro for it. But it is The Godfather by Mario Puzo, and this one, honestly, I'm just not enjoying it. I don't know. I thought I would enjoy The Godfather, but I'm not. And I think it's because it's just, it doesn't feel like a classic, but it doesn't feel like something that's easily readable. So I feel like I'm not in the mood for it right now. And that's okay. That's okay. But there's just a lot of names, y'all. There's a bunch of family friends and people in the family and people doing people dirty. And I feel like I just need to be in a certain mood to continue on. But also I need to give myself a kick in the pants so I can film this video because I have so many clips for stuff and I don't even know which SD cards they're on. So, oh my gosh, the plight of a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. And then the other book that I'm currently reading, which I thought I would enjoy more, and I think it's on, I don't know if it's on me or on the book in general that I'm not enjoying, but it is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And honestly, I picked this one up because I saw Books and Lala, read it, and enjoyed it. And I feel like I like some of the stuff she likes, but then I hate some of the stuff she likes. So there's kind of like, there's not really a common thread there. It's just you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. But this one is about, it's a dystopian. And when was this one written? This one was written in 1993. Okay. It was written in 1993, and it's set in basically this year. Like the first chapter is in 2024. And in it, you are following this girl who lives in a society where basically the climate change monster has sunk its teeth into our Earth. And they're having a bunch of like natural disasters. People are really poor. And there's a lot of violence that happens in this society. And the main character has this power where she just basically has a lot of empathy and she feels everything. And it focuses a lot on religion and God. And I'm enjoying it? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I'm enjoying it. But not enough. It's not like captivating me. I assume once I get past, oh dear goodness, once I get past 59 pages, that, you know, it'll keep going and like it'll capture me. But as of yet, it has not. And I'm sad because I thought it would grip me sooner. I don't know. Also, I know this is like a book. This is a book number 1 in a series. And so I'm like, do I want to get hooked on it? Because I like my series, y'all. But I don't know if I have the time to devote to this series. So I think I should not have picked this one up right now. And unfortunately, I did. Oopsies. But yeah, I like the tone. I like the narrator. I like, what else do I like? It hasn't like picked up yet. We're just kind of walking around California trying to live and be So it's not really my jam as of yet, but we'll see. We'll see. So those are the books that I'm currently reading, and I don't think I'm going to finish any one of them anytime soon. But I will tell you that I have finished 3 books, and one of them was an arc, which I still need to write the review for. So, oops. And then I just finished one. Oh, I started and finished one today. So I'm quite pleased because this was one of my days off that I have. And I was like, you know what? I feel like reading. So I read, and it was great. But I also read, and also these were 2 popular ones too. I read a popular one, which I started and finished today. And last week I read a popular book as well, a new release. And we'll talk about them. So I started The Fury, I want to say last week. Did I read this one last week? I must have. So I read The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce his name, but we're going with it. And I don't think I've ever read an Alex Michaelides. No, because he wrote The Silent Patient, right? Didn't read that one, but now I kind of want to. And I was going to do a vlog for this one. In fact, I started it. I started the vlog, and this is when I started my new job as well, which was not a good idea. And so it kind of fell by the wayside, that vlog, and those clips will probably never see the light of day. That's okay. But this one is about this. What is it about? It's about this guy named Elliot Chase, who is a playwright, and he has this friend named Lana, who he is absolutely smitten with. They're like besties for the resties, and he's invited to her island because she's this Hollywood starlet who is now retired and has a son and owns an island, and it's a Greek island, and she invites her inner circle to this island one day and says, okay, let's hang out. And whilst on the island, some crazy stuff happens and some tragic stuff happens. And you're just following Elliot's narration of the events and of his best friend and of the people in her circle and their dynamics. And this will not be a spoiler-filled video, I'm sorry to say, even though it would be way easier to sum up these books if I could give a spoiler or two, but I'm not gonna. But basically, there's a murder on the island. This is a mystery thriller, and it was pretty good. I think I gave it, I say it was pretty good, but I only give it 3.5 stars. But I gave it 3.5 stars because I saw it all coming, and I was a little disappointed in that I saw it all coming. And also because the pacing of it, it's super slow. And the suspenseful nature was done well, I believe, because I love that feeling of, oh my gosh, you're going to get the answer in a couple chapters. Like the build of the suspense was very, it was done well. It was done well. But the thing is, if you continue that suspense for too long, then you lose me. And that's kind of what happened in this book. The author, he kind of gets you to stay on the line. He puts you on hold. And then you're like, are you ever coming back? And then he did. And I was like, but it's what I thought it was going to be. I will say that the actual POV we have, I think we have, how many POVs? We definitely have Lana's POV and we have Elliot's, and I can't remember if we have another one, but I enjoyed both of those perspectives. But I will say that, like, Elliot is this guy who is a playwright, and so he has the flair for the dramatic, and sometimes his perspective got a little like, ugh. But reading the very end and what happens there, I understand why it was so, like, dramatic and, like, thespian. So I understand all of that. It's honestly just the fact that the suspense was just too long. Let's see. I enjoyed the setting of, like, this Greek island that's super isolated, and the stormy, windy night, and all of that. That was interesting. It just didn't like go that extra mile, and I really wanted it to. So that was a little disappointing. Also, I need to take a break and uncross my legs. Oh, okay. So the next book I'm going to talk about. In fact, should I have talked longer about that book? I don't know. The next book that I read, which I actually read 2 books this week, which seems weird to me because did I read a book the first week of March? I have no idea. In fact, let me consult Goodreads, okay? I don't know what I've read. Also, I've fallen off of my reading journal habit, and now I don't know how to get back on it. Yep, I've only read 3 books this month. Okay. Well, the next book that I read was I Need You to Read This by Jessa Maxwell, I believe. Let me make sure I didn't butcher that. And it was an ARC that was kindly sent to me via NetGalley because I requested it. So thank you, NetGalley and Atria Books, for the advanced copy. And this book will be coming out August 13th of this year. So if by the end of this review something seems like it's your cup of tea, go check it out. But I picked this one up and was intrigued because I read The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell in January, and I was like, ooh, I really enjoyed the tone, the cozy mystery-ness of it, and I enjoyed the writing style. So I thought, hey, let's read another Jessa Maxwell. Let's keep this train going. And this one is about this woman named Alex who has been a longtime fan of this advice columnist's work. And she wrote a column called Dear Constance, and her name was Frances, I believe. Let me check. Yes, Frances Keene. And Alex is extremely saddened when Frances has been murdered one day, and so there's no one to keep up Dear Constance. She has no one to look up to anymore. But then, when the newspaper that publishes this advice column advertises that, hey, if you think you are really good at giving advice, apply here. So Alex does apply, and she does get the job. Woohoo! But things start to, seem a little creepy in the business. So that's where the story takes off. I gave this book 3 stars. It was a good story, but I will say that it's not exactly what I was looking for when I read the description of the book. There's just a little bit, like a couple times where you think, oh, it's going to go in this direction, and then it didn't. I will say that it has like a quirky cast of characters, like the people that Alex knows, not even in her job that she gets. And there's some good aspects of the book. I just wasn't expecting them, and I thought I'd rather be somewhere else right now. And let's see, what else is not a spoiler? And also there is a lot of that's a spoiler. I can't spoil this book, you guys, especially because it's not even out yet. Basically, it is a mystery thriller, but dare I say, it feels to me like The Golden Spoon, which was a cozy mystery, even though they're not the same vibe at all. But it just feels to me like it's kind of like that, and I was expecting something more like whatever this hand motion is, and it did take me a while. Like the beginning was very like off to the races, and then towards the middle where you're just trying to the author sets up her boss and who he is, and even in the description or this little blurb on Goodreads, she is a little suspicious of her boss, Dimitri Howard, or Howard Dimitri. She is a little suspicious of him, and so that there is a lot of set up for that. But then I also wanted it to be more about Frances, honestly. And I feel like Frances takes a back burner towards the middle/end of the novel. But still, it was a good time. I read it, I want to say it took me like 2 weeks to read it, just because, past a certain point, I was like, I don't care about this character. If it just followed Frances a little bit more, I would have been over the moon about it. But, c'est la vie. So yeah, I give that one 3 stars. And the next book I'm going to talk about is, do I own this book? I do not own this book. I read just today, pat myself on the back, I read The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. And I was super surprised that first of all, I really enjoyed this book. 4 stars. A great time. It reads very quick. But I was surprised that I enjoyed it so much because I didn't know this until I researched it afterwards, that Rachel Hawkins is the person who wrote Rebel Belle. And I read Rebel Belle, I don't know how many years ago, and I loved that ish. It was great. It was this just campy YA novel about a paladin who is a teen girl, and she lives in Alabama, I believe. She's very southern. And I don't know why I really like that book. I didn't enjoy the sequel, and I will never read the third book. I will never. But I still enjoyed it. So I didn't expect to, if I had known that this author was the same one, I wouldn't have expected to really enjoy Rachel Hawkins' adult thrillers. But I did. But I can also see where some people wouldn't like this one, because it kind of does what The Fury did, in which I saw it all coming, but this time I enjoyed it. My reading is weird because I like when I can see things on the wall, but then sometimes I don't like it. It just depends on what I'm reading and what the story is. But this one is about an heiress named Ruby McTavish Callahan Woodward Miller Kenmore. That is a mouthful. Basically, she was North Carolina's richest woman, and she has recently died. And before all this happened, she was the victim of a kidnapping, but then she gets brought back to her family, and then she goes on to marry a bunch of men, and she ends up becoming a widower 4 times. So people are like, that's a little suspicious. But she also has this adopted son named, what was his name? I read this today, and I can't remember his name. And his name was Camden. And Camden, he is this, adopted man who ends up living not quite the posh lifestyle. He ends up, relocating to Colorado, gets married, and then when the death of his uncle summons them back to this house, which is called, what was the house called? Tavish Ashby House. There we go. Basically, he goes back to see what's the big hullabaloo. And basically, there's a bunch of questions that we want the answers to, like why did she adopt Camden? What happened to her many husbands? What secrets has Ruby been keeping? And who really are these people? And basically, all those questions get answered, I believe. Do they? I feel like they do. And you meet they basically just a whole big thing about people who want the house, people who want the fortune. And basically that's where the story takes off. And it really does, it reminds me of, what book is it? Oh, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Reminds me of that. Mixed with Gone with the Wind, just because it's so southern, so rich plantation owner-esque, because there is that portion of the novel that is a little bit in the past, because when was Ruby born? Ruby was born in the 1940s, and so you're going through her life, and but also you were in the 21st century with Camden and his wife Jules, and you also have Jules and Camden have their own separate point of views, and so Those are very interesting to read. And I just really enjoyed it, even though it's not particularly twisty, because I feel like the writing's on the wall with this one, but in a way that's like, it's just a nice, entertaining read. And that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted something fast-paced and entertaining. And that's all I got, and that's all I wanted. I will say that there's like, I don't know what it is about writers nowadays that I don't like, but there's like a couple of things. And one is when they put like the narrative of the mainstream whatever into a book, like the fact that Jules is married to Camden and he is a McTavish, and they go back to his house and something happens where his cousin Ben is like, oh, is this the Mrs. McTavish? And Jules is like, no, I didn't take his name. And I was like, okay, fair. I know people don't, necessarily want to take people's names. Although, me personally, the second I get married, I'm going to change all of my stuff. I'm ditching my last name like it is, I'm dropping it like it's a hot plate, or a hot potato. But in this instance, it's not just that she goes, no, I didn't take his last name. And that's fine. That's fair. But she says, I miss whatever her last name was. And I was like, huh? You're married. How are you Miss still? You're a Mrs. whatever your last name you want it to be. I just don't understand that. How can you, if you understand that, please let me know. I'm clueless. But those are the only things I didn't really enjoy about the book. I enjoyed, like I said, the story. I enjoyed how predictable it was. And now I'm curious about other Rachel Hawkins. Like, what else did she write? She wrote Reckless Girls and The Villa. And she also wrote like the Hex Hall series. And now I kind of want to go on a whole big binge where I just read Rachel Hawkins. But knowing me, it probably won't happen. So, did I say anything of substance about this book? I don't think so. And it basically just felt like a Frida McFadden if I liked Frida McFadden. Because I didn't tell you guys about this. I read Never Lie by Frida McFadden last month, and it was so bad. The twists were so stupid and illogical, inane, and I don't know why. Like, I feel like I need to read more Frida McFaddens because I've only read The Housemaid, and that was it before I read Never Lie. And so I went into it thinking, oh, I think I'll like it because, while The Housemaid wasn't anything revolutionary, it was still good. It was a good time. But no, never read Never Lie. Never Lie is a piss poor book. I give it 2 stars. And it's about this couple that goes to a house in the middle of the snowy tundra. And because they're looking to buy a house, they're a new couple. And they just got married after very few months of knowing each other. And they see that it has belonged to previously this really famous therapist who wrote books about therapizing people, I guess. And they feel like someone's in the house, blah, blah, blah. It was not good. What I didn't like about it was just the fact that I feel like the author she repeated some like main themes that I read in The Housemaid, and I read it recently, so I was like, I feel like you just did that. So I didn't enjoy it, but I can understand where some people would. So, let's see. Is that all that I read? I think that's all I read. So I gave The Heiress, like I said, 4 stars. It was pretty sick. And yeah, so now I'm just like, what do I read next? Because I don't know what the mood is, what the vibe is. I have no clue. Oh, can I tell you guys something else? So I think I'm just gabbing at this point. So I have been trying to, I have a question. I was going to say something and now I'm switching. Here's my question. How do you balance life? How do you do it? How do you balance working, a family, a social life, and your hobbies? I don't understand it because I feel like the last few weeks has been me trying to go, oh my gosh, I can burn the candle at both ends. And then I realized, no, you can't. You can't do it, girl. Because I was trying to be that person. Like, when you have friends and they invite you out places, you can't always say no, because then they'll stop inviting you. And so you have to be down for some things. But then I also am a morning person. I'm not a night owl. And so I was going out, not a bunch, but I've been going out and trying to be fun, and it's draining me. If you can see the life, fading from my eyes, that's why. Although it was fun going out, it was like dancing. But I don't think that life is for me. I think I'm just a homebody. And it puts a damper on my reading, because now my reading has been cut in half by, working. But, yeah, that's my question to you. How do you do it? How do you balance it? How do these people read 100 books a year while also, like, having other stuff to do? I don't get it. How do you do it? Are you an audiobook person, or are you just a really fast reader? I want to know. I don't think I said anything of substance today, but if you see this video go up, it means that I edited it. That I edited it. So we'll see if I do that. And also, I feel like I was missing editing. So I kind of just wanted to film something so I can chop it up and like splice it, because I'm not a good editor, but I like it. It's fun for me. So yeah. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe, and maybe I'll put out more videos. I'm trying not to go huge chunks of time without posting, because, I feel like the YouTube monster wouldn't like that. So we're trying. But yeah, hopefully I read some of these books that I have started. Honestly, the one that I'm most likely to read next would probably be Parable of the Sower. Probably because it's a very atmospheric book. Because The Godfather, could you have done a smaller print? No, he couldn't have. But then also I want to reread books. Like, I want to reread The Raven Cycle. I want to reread, I should do a reread of Harry Potter. And my sister's reading Rebecca right now, and I want to reread that because I loved Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. There's just so many books that I want to read, but can't justify reading right now. But then again, it's just books. I can do whatever I want, so I will. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.